Hello everyone and welcome to another Facebook Live. Today is the last day of our current annual catalogue. I still can't show you the inside of this one, but as of tomorrow I'm going to be able to. So I might plan to do perhaps a quick catalogue walkthrough later in the week. See how I go. So I want to share with you a card that was made in a class last week using old product, but the thing I really want to show you is how you can use the exact same products or similar products to create the same card using new product. So that is the cover of the new catalogue. As I mentioned, I can't show you the inside just yet, but that's coming. So I can show you the stamps that I'm going to use, or the bundle. So we have a new bundle called Attention Shoppers. Okay, so this one, I love the font in this one. It's a little bit of fun. You do have the trolley in it, along with gift, a bottle of bubbles, a cake and plant. So, and also the sentiments are really nice. The font is lovely. This stamp set does come in a bundle, as I mentioned. And so it also has the dies, which are these ones here. So you can cut the trolley out and some of the images. And of course you can stamp and then cut out the trolley. I found when I have used this, I've just cut the trolley out using some coloured cardstock, and that's done a great job. So I'm going to be doing the card using this bundle. I'm going to be using one of the sentiments and also just one of the images. So I'm going to share this one with you tonight. So let me pop that one there. Before I start, this is the card that I made for a card buffet class last week. So let me hold this up a little bit. So there is that one there. In the background, I've got painted textures embossing folder. So I have, for this card that I'm making tonight, changed the embossing folder up. I've got one of the scallop contour dies. That's a retiring one, so I've changed that to a deckled rectangle die. And the bundle that I've used for this one is Dainty Delight. So that has got the floral images plus a bunch of dies, and of course it's got a sentiment as well. So the yellow in this is Daffodil Delight, and I've just got a little bit of watercolouring on this. The inside is finished off how it usually is, some cardstock or coloured cardstock and the white. So this card I have recreated using the Attention Shoppers stamp set. I'm just checking to make sure I've got everything in here that I need. Yes, I do. Okay, so this is my recreation. So I have used a different embossing folder, which is this one here, which is one of the 3D ones. So it has got, I hope that shows up, it's got the polka dots on it. Let me hold this up so you can see it's got the polka dots. This is one of the Basics 3D embossing folders from Online Exclusives. These are still available, okay? So they're a lot of fun. Polka dots are very, very versatile. As I mentioned, the die I'm using is Deckled Rectangle, which just has that torn edge look on it. It's not perfectly straight. And I have repeat stamped and coloured in some of these shopping bags. So, and I've also got shopping is always a good idea. So that's the sentiment. And of course the inside is finished off. You could certainly make this into something else. I might make this one into a Just For You or Happy Birthday or something like that. So as you can see, two cards, same design, different images, different background, still the same card. I wanted to demonstrate to you how easy it is to create the same card over and over again. You don't have to come up with something different every time. Reuse your designs that you've got, even down to the colours. I've just changed up my sentiment and images. So let's get started with this one. I have done a little bit of the cutting and colouring ahead of time, just to save a little bit of time. So I've got some of my little pearls. These are the iridescent pearls, which are continuing. I have cut out, stamped, coloured and cut out ahead of time 2 of my 3 shopping bags. I have a piece of cardstock to stamp my final shopping bag. I have 2 pieces of white A4 which measure, or 2 pieces of white A4 cardstock which measure 9.5 by 13.4. Okay, so I have ahead of time embossed one of them. I've only got the mini next to me, and of course these bigger embossing folders don't fit through the mini, so I have done that ahead of time. I have got my 2 pieces of Daffodil Delight, which is such a bright and happy colour. These measure 10 centimetres by 14.4. So again, those measurements should be familiar to you. I do use those basic ones all the time. And I've also got my thick white cardstock base, which is a half sheet of A4, which I've scored as well. Hi Jenny, thank you for joining us. Okay, so let's get started with this. And I have forgotten my little deckled rectangle. Let me see what I've got here that I can use for the time being. Probably nothing too much, but I will stay prepared. We need to start running a quiz of what has Jacinta forgotten today. Let me grab that die and I'll be right back. Now that I'm back, I might as well show you this set of dies as well. So these are the deckled rectangles. As you can see, there's multiple sizes there to choose from. And it does have that deckled edge, so they're not perfectly straight. Hi Pam, thanks for joining us. Okay, so let me get the right size one that I need for this, and I'll cut this one out as well. Okay, because this will fit through the mini. With this one, these really large ones won't fit through, but all of your smaller ones are going to fit through the mini machine really quite nicely. And I'm actually busy organising. These are magnetic sheets, and I've actually started to rule some lines. So stylish shapes have been around. Should be familiar with it. I use that one a lot. Got the deckled rectangles. These are Spotlight on Nature. These are brand new dies as well. So let me show you those ones. So these will be available to order tomorrow. So I've got some projects that I'm making at the moment using those, and they are really pretty and decorative with the edges. Okay, so let me put that one up there out the way. And let me grab a piece of, there we go, an extra piece of white cardstock. Not too disastrous tonight. Okay, so, my goodness. Okay, let me get started with, I'm going to do the die cutting in one hit, so I'll just pop that up there to do. I want to do my stamp first, which is, if you're only just joining, attention shoppers, I'm going to grab out the stamp that has got the grocery bag on it, and I'm going to be stamping that in Memento Black, which is what I use pretty much all the time for any line artwork that I need to stamp. I prefer Memento over the StazOn, because anyone who's used StazOn, you'll know that it stains, and I wouldn't recommend using StazOn ink with photopolymer. I think that the photopolymer tends to stain. It's going to stain a whole lot more, and a permanent sort of stain, if you use StazOn ink. So my recommendation is the Memento Tuxedo Black ink. This is, this is going to be perfect to use for pretty much all of your watercolouring. Okay, so I need to do my little bit of colouring in, and I am using the watercolour pencils. So I have mine just in, this is one of the full-size stamp cases. Unfortunately, we can't actually get these cases anymore, but they are an awesome size to put your pencils in. And of course, you could just go the traditional pencil case to put these in. So I'm going to be doing the yellow. One of the things I really love about the Stampin' Up! Watercolour pencils is the lead is a little bit soft, so you can actually get down a good amount of pencil colour just by using a bit more pressure. So I've got the yellow, and I'm also going to use, I needed my darker brown, which is this one here. And of course they do have, if if you haven't seen them before, they do have the colour written on the pencil as well. I have got assortment A or assortment 1 and assortment 2. I've been using these and customers have been using these for many years. So as you can see, that's pretty much full size. You can tell the ones that I've used a lot. So it's taken me a while to get through the first set. So for personal use, you're not going to use them or get through them quite as much. So you may only ever need to buy one set of your watercolor pencils. And using the darker brown, which is Early Espresso, I've just put some color on the handle. I am going to leave the bag white. I did another sample where I colored in the bag and I wasn't happy with the color. So I've decided I'm going to leave it white for this one. Okay, so I'm going to be using a blender pen, okay, which some of you will be, most of you should be familiar with. The blender pen is a dual-tipped blending pen, and the tip does get a bit stained. I'm not sure how well. Let me hold up a piece of paper so that you might be able to see. You can see there that my tip is stained. It doesn't affect the way that it works. So the tip will get stained and worn out over time, but please don't worry about that. When the liquid in these dry out, you replace it. So they're not refillable, and I do recommend, because they are dual tips, both the same, have this flat in the drawer. Don't have it up on its end in the caddy, because the liquid will go to one end and you'll end up with one dry end. So I'm just got a post-it note. I'm just going to make sure that the tip is clean, and then I'm just going to smooth and blend that colour out and move the colour around a little bit. And with these, with the blender pen and these pencils, you get such a nice smooth finish. Before I change the colour, I'm just going to run the tip of the blender pen over some scrap paper, and then I'm ready to do my next colour, so the brown. And again, just out of habit, clean off the tip, and then that can be stored flat back in the drawer, or maybe somewhere in your caddy if you can store it flat. Just don't store it up on its end like you normally would a pen. Okay, so let me put that aside. I do have some cutting out to do, so let me grab my dies again, which are these ones here, which are the Attention Shoppers die, and I'm going to just be using this one here, which is for the gift bag. Let me share another sneak peek with you. These are dies for the Loveliest Tree stamp set, which I haven't actually got the stamp set next to me. If you liked Lovely as a Tree, you are going to love this stamp set. Okay, so look at that. Couple of sneak peeks, and I didn't even plan on that for tonight, but that's all good. Okay, so I am going to use my mini Stamp and Cut and Emboss machine. And my sandwich is the number 1 plate, which is the white plate, and 2 number 2s. Okay, so number 1 and my 2 number 2s. Now, when I've used these in the past, I have staggered the plate. So I'm going to have plate 1, which is the white one, and about 1 centimetre back, I'm going to have my first cutting plate or clear plate. So let me just move my machine just a little bit, and hopefully then you can see. Okay, you should be able to see that. And I'm going to, I think, cut my rectangle first. Let me just grab my scissors and trim this down so it fits in the machine. So I've got my deckled rectangle that is going to go on the platform, and then my second number 2 plate is going to go level with the white plate. So I've got that staggered set up with my plates. I'm going to just push it through until the handle catches, and then we'll go through the rest of the way. And pop that aside, and there you can see the deckled rectangle. So you can see that it has that deckled edge, so not that perfectly straight edge. So that's the first one I'm going to be cutting. I'm using the exact same sandwich, so about 1 centimetre back for the plate number 2. And I've got my shopping bag. And I am going to be using a post-it note just to hold this in place so it doesn't slip around. If you don't use post-it notes, you can use a bit of washi tape or something like that. I find post-it notes are just as easy to use. In the past when I've used washi tape, I think my washi tape was a bit too tacky and actually ripped my cardstock. So that's why I went back to using my post-it notes. Second cutting plate, number 2 plate on the top. Again, it is staggered. Push until it catches. And then the rest of the way through. Hi Leanne, I'm glad you caught us live this time. Just to let you know, Leanne, it's actually turned very cold here at home, so I hope you're really enjoying your warm days, because it's not going to be nice down here in the coming weeks and months. Okay, so there is my die up there, and I'll get rid of the plates. There is my little shopping bag, or my 3 shopping bags. Of course, I did a couple ahead of time, and I've also got my pearls to put on. Okay, so for those who have just joined, this is the card that I'm making. And this is the second time I've made this design. This was the original card, but I wanted to recreate this card using a product from the new catalogue. Of course it is. I'm sure it's beautiful weather. Even if it's just sunny, that's nice. Okay, so let me continue with this one. So I need to do my stamp, and I'm going to be using Daffodil Delight. And I think I might make this one maybe a happy birthday or something different. What have we got there? Maybe just for you. Okay, let me grab this one out. Well, actually, I haven't used this stamp out of the set yet. I've used quite a few of the other ones. And grab a block. And I'm going to line that up roughly in the middle, but I'm going to have it off to one side. So I've got my Daffodil Delight, which is the same yellow as the cardstock. And it's going to go around about there. Okay, so that's the stamping all done. So let's put this card together. As I mentioned earlier, the base is the half a sheet of A4, and I've got the thick white cardstock. Now at the moment, if you're trying to order thick white cardstock, it's out of stock just for the time being. So hopefully it won't be too long before that is restocked. I hope it's not too long anyway, because I'm onto my last packet. So I might have to go back to using the standard white cardstock. Okay, so I folded my card in half. I'm going to finish the inside first. So I've got my piece of white. As I mentioned earlier, the measurement is 9.5 by 13.9, and the Daffodil Delight piece is 10 centimeters by 14.4. And I'm just going to use, as always, some Stampin' Seal. And as I always say, please don't forget that little tick to break the stream of the adhesive. Okay. Very simple. Of course, don't forget in the middle, you can add some images. You could do stamp another shopping bag, or even another sentiment. And put this into the inside of the card, and that part is done. Okay, for my card front, I am going to be sticking these two together with some Stampin' Seal. And this is actually going to be going flat onto the card front, because normally I use multiple layers of dimensionals, but I've actually kept this one a little bit flatter, so I haven't quite used as many. And again, some Stampin' Seal. And this will go onto the card front. So once you've got the little elements of this card made, it does come together nice and quick. And of course, any colour is going to work. Okay, so that is the card front done. So my next piece, I am going to be putting this on with some dimensionals. And I've got some of the minis here. Hi Simone, thanks for joining us. Okay, so I am using the Take Your Pick tool simply because it makes it a lot easier to pick up these little dimensionals. Maybe it's just me who finds it hard, I'm not sure. Okay, and to get the papers off nice and quick, using the pick tool on the Take Your Pick tool, just stab into the backing and then they'll just come off straight away. And they also kind of stick together when you take them off. Let me show you this one. So that's about 5 dimensionals covers on there. Normally they just flick all over the table, but they kind of stick together nicely. So that's got to be easier for cleaning up. I'm sure it's going to be easier for cleaning up. Okay, so I'm going to put my deckled rectangle off to one side, which then allows me that little bit of extra room down this side to stick on my shopping bags. So these will go, we'll have the 2 underneath, so the red, the orange and the blue, and then in the middle, the yellow one. The way this is going to be stuck down, I'm going to be putting dimensionals just down this side of the shopping bag. So I'm going to put one towards the top and one towards the bottom. I am going to use a really small amount of the Tombow. So Tombow does, of course, have a place in whatever paper crafting you're doing. So I've got my little bit of Tombow that will help stick this element onto the tag. So that one will go about there. So then I've got my 2 dimensionals there and I've got a little bit of Tombow to help that stick down beautifully over the top of the deckled rectangle. I am going to do the same with the one with the orange tissue paper. So again, just the 2 pieces of dimensional. Take those covers off. A little bit of Tombow. And that's going to be stuck on there. So this one here, I'm going to be putting most of this one on just with dimensionals, because this is actually going to be, I don't know how well you can tell, but this bit here is the highest part of the card. So I'll put the lid onto that. And I'm going to get some dimensionals onto, oops, if I can pick them up, onto here. So I'm just using 3 pieces for this. Again, stab into them to get the papers off, and then almost done. So I do have my little pearls here. Of course, if you have the Stampin' Blends and you want to change the colour of these, I do recommend using the Stampin' Blends. Use the bullet end because it's a little bit harder. So then you can actually colour your pearls or your rhinestones or whatever embellishment to coordinate perfectly with your project. But I'm going to leave these pearls as they are. Hi Corinne, you've missed some of it, but you'll be able to catch up on replay. I'll be posting this video, as I always do, straight away after I finished. Okay, so I do have the putty end of my Take Your Pick tool. As you can see, mine's almost finished. So to get more putty out, you just have to give it a little bit of a turn and then you get your putty coming out. If you run out of putty, you can get just the replacement tips, and they cost, I think, $6 or $7 for 2 replacement tips. But you should get lots and lots of use out of yours. I'm onto my 2nd tip and I've got a couple more in the cupboard. So all I'm going to do is just slide the pearl off and put them onto the card front. And the last one. there we have. It's a fairly quick card to make. This card is obviously one that's designed for somebody who has a few more tools. If you're just new to Stampin' Up! And you don't have the machine, you can still create some of this. You'd just be cutting your rectangle, and you can fussy cut some of these images out. The only thing you'd struggle to do is actually doing your embossing in the background, but you could do some background stamping or something like that to add a bit of texture and point of interest. So this is the card. Okay, so this is my original card that I made for a class last week using the Sculpt Contour dies, which are retiring today, and also the Dainty Delight bundle, which is retiring today. But I wanted to show you very simply that you can create the same card, the same design, just change up your products, and the card will look a little different. So I do have just a couple of reminders for you. First one that I've mentioned already is last chance. The absolute last chance you have got of getting some of these retiring products is today. Okay, if you miss out on these today, if there's something you desperately want, you need to get your order in ASAP. As of tomorrow, none of this will be available to purchase. Okay, so the last chance list ends today. Next month, there is a starter kit special. So this is for anyone who might be interested in joining my team. You get added benefits. So you're looking at, your spend would be $169. For your $169, you get to choose $235 worth of product. Plus you're going to get this new in color bundle, which includes the 5 ink pads, the cardstock, the designer series paper, and also the Stampin' Write markers, and all that bundle is valued at $144. So it's amazing value. And of course, as the demonstrator, you get a great discount on your products too. The last thing for tonight, annual catalog, which I showed you that just a little while ago. Let me show you this one here. It goes live tomorrow, and to help celebrate that, I am having an annual catalogue launch on Friday the 17th of May and Saturday the 18th of May. This will be card buffet style, so all the details are on my Facebook page, so just click on the events tab and you'll find all the information there. There is still a bit more time to register for one of these events. It is amazing value, Simone. It really is one of the good ones. So, and of course, then you get your hands on those beautiful new colours at no extra cost to you. Okay, so as mentioned, annual catalogue launch, all the details, just click on the events tab and you'll find all the information on that. Alternatively, leave me a comment and I will get back to you. I'm going to be back next week to share some more new annual catalogue stuff, and I'm actually going to be able to, kind of excited, show you the inside of this catalogue. I just can't do it tonight. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to see how I go later in the week. I might actually get on and do a quick catalogue walkthrough. But I'll give you heads up. I'll give you an hour or so notice if that's going to happen. There's just some really great stuff in here I'd like to share with you fairly quickly. So keep an eye out for that. It will be one night this week, possibly Friday night, but I will let you all know ahead of time. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I really hope you enjoyed seeing some new product and seeing how you can make the exact same design card just using different products. So I hope you've enjoyed this tonight. Thank you so much. Yeah, and I'll see you probably later in the week or next Tuesday, as I would normally be back. Thanks again, everyone. Take care and see you next week. Bye.